The large metal hangar was filled with noise and movement. Dozens of people worked on the giant war dragons that protected the galaxy. These creatures were half alive and half machine. They were the best weapons the Galactic Coalition had to fight their enemies. Jake Morrison stood next to his dragon. Her name was Liberty. She looked very different from the other dragons in the hangar. Her left wing was bent and broken. The bright scales on her body that used to glow were now dark and dull. Liberty had been hurt badly in a big battle 3 months ago. Jake had tried everything to fix her, but she still could not fly. Commander Vexira walked into the hangar. She was from a race called the Carthians. She had silver skin and 4 arms. Her dragon, Sovereign Fury, looked perfect and strong. It sat near the entrance, its scales shining brightly. Vexira stopped when she saw Jake working on Liberty. She had a group of officers with her. "Still trying to fix that broken thing, human?" Vexira said loudly. Everyone nearby stopped working and looked. "I told the station boss that letting primitives work on dragons was stupid." Jake kept working. He did not look up at her. "She is not broken. I can fix the damage." Vexira laughed in a mean way. The sound echoed in the big hangar. "Fix her? Look at that dragon. Half of her brain connections are burned. Her left engine does not work. Her scales cannot heal themselves anymore. Even our best Carthian experts said she cannot be saved." "Maybe your experts gave up too fast," Jake said. He finally looked at her face. Vexira's eyes became narrow and angry. "How dare you say that? My people have worked with war dragons for 3,000 years. Your humans only went to space 200 years ago. You know nothing about these creatures." She walked closer to Jake. She looked down at him. Her face showed that she thought he was worthless. "You are a bad mechanic playing with tools you do not understand. That dragon should be taken apart for spare parts, but you keep her alive and suffering. You have some stupid human idea about hope that makes no sense." Jake's jaw became tight, but he spoke calmly. "Liberty is not suffering, and she is not finished fighting." "The enemy invasion comes in 3 weeks," Vexira said in a cold voice. "When the Dravok army comes through that space gate, we need every dragon that can fight. Your broken pet will be useless. People will die because you are stubborn and stupid. We could have had a real warrior instead of your wreck." She started to walk away. Then she stopped and turned back. "Do everyone a favor, Morrison. Accept the truth. Some things cannot be fixed, no matter how hard you try." Her boots made loud sounds as she walked away. When she was gone, Jake's friend Ben Carter came over. Ben worked on dragons, too. His work area was next to Jake's. "Do not listen to her," Ben said. "She has been mean to everyone since they announced the invasion." Jake put his hand on Liberty's damaged scales. The dragon's eye was huge and deep blue. It opened a little and looked at him. Jake could feel a weak connection in his mind. The dragon was still there, still aware. "I will not give up on you, girl," Jake whispered. "I know you are still in there fighting." Liberty's eye closed again slowly. Jake looked at all the damage. The neural network was the biggest problem. It was the system that let the dragon and pilot connect their minds when they flew. A Dravok weapon had burned it badly. The normal way to fix it was to grow new brain tissue. That took many months. The dragon had to be healthy for it to work. Jake did not have months. He barely had weeks now. Other mechanics came by during the day. Some offered to help. Most were too busy getting their own dragons ready for the battle. They all looked at Liberty with sad eyes. They thought she was finished. They thought Jake was wasting his time. That night, Jake stayed in the hangar. He pulled out his computer pad and read technical manuals. He had read them all before, but he read them again. There had to be something he missed. Some way to help Liberty. He ate food from a package without tasting it. He drank cold coffee. His eyes hurt from reading, but he kept going. Around midnight, the hangar became quiet. Most people had gone to sleep. Only the night shift workers remained, and they stayed in other sections. Jake was alone with Liberty. He stood up and walked around the dragon. He looked at every damaged part. The bent wing, the burned neural connections, the dark scales. To everyone else, Liberty looked hopeless. But Jake saw something different. He saw a fighter who refused to quit. "We are the same, you know," Jake said quietly to the sleeping dragon. "Everyone thinks we do not belong here. They think humans are too primitive. They think you are too damaged. But we will show them. Somehow we will show them all." Liberty's eye opened again. This time, Jake felt a stronger pulse through their mental connection. It was not words. It was feeling, determination. Trust. The dragon believed in him even when no one else did. Jake sat back down at his workstation. He pulled up the files on Liberty's neural system again. He had looked at these images 1,000 times. The damaged pathways, the burned connections, the dead sections that would not heal. Everyone had been trying to fix Liberty like she was a living thing first and a machine second. But what if that was wrong? What if he needed to think about it differently? Humans had their own neural technology. They had ways to connect human brains to computers. It was not as good as the natural systems in dragons, but it worked differently. What if he could build a bridge? What if he could use human technology to go around the damaged dragon parts? It had never been done before. It might not work, but it was a chance. Jake's tiredness disappeared. He started pulling up new files. Human neural interface designs. Computer connection systems. He began to see how the pieces might fit together. The station's clock showed it was 3 a.m. Jake did not care. He had found hope, and he was not going to let it go. His fingers flew across the keyboard as he started designing something new, something that had never existed before. A hybrid system that would let Liberty fly again. Behind him, Liberty's scales began to glow just a tiny bit brighter. She mocked the human mechanic and his disabled dragon, but soon regretted it. Part 2. Jake worked without stopping. He did not go back to his room to sleep. He did not leave the hangar. His meals came from the food machines near his workstation. He ate without tasting anything. His mind was completely focused on saving Liberty. 2 weeks passed quickly. Other mechanics saw Jake working all day and all night. Some thought he had gone crazy. Others felt sorry for him. A few brought him coffee or food and said kind words, but most thought he was wasting his time on a dragon that could never fly again. The main problem was clear but hard to solve. Liberty's neural network was like a highway system in her body. It carried signals from her brain to all her parts. The Dravok weapon had destroyed major sections of this highway. The normal fix was to grow new biological pathways, but that took months. Liberty did not have months. None of them did. Jake kept thinking about his new idea. What if he stopped trying to heal Liberty's biology? What if he built her a new highway using technology instead? Humans had invented ways to connect brains to computers. These systems were not as smooth as dragon biology, but they worked using different rules. He started gathering parts. He went to the human section of the station and asked for computer components. Some people asked why he needed them. He told them he was working on a research project. That was not a lie. This was research. Research that had never been done before. Jake fabricated custom pieces in the machine shop. He wrote computer code late into the night. The code had to translate between 2 completely different languages. One language was biological, the way Liberty's brain naturally communicated. The other was digital, the way computers talked to each other. Ben found him on the 13th day. Jake was sitting on the floor, surrounded by cables and circuit boards. He had not shaved in a week. His clothes were dirty. His eyes were red and tired. "Jake, you look terrible," Ben said with worry. "When did you last sleep?" "Liberty's neural bridge is working," Jake said. His voice was excited even though he looked exhausted. "Look at this screen." Ben looked at the display. Lines of light were moving across it in patterns. "What am I seeing?" "Those are Liberty's thoughts," Jake explained. "Her damaged neural network is talking through my synthetic bridge. She is connecting to systems that have been dead for months." Ben's eyes went wide. "That is amazing. But will it be enough? Her wing is still broken. The engine on her left side does not work." "One problem at a time," Jake said. "First I wake up her mind. Then we fix her body." The next 3 days were the hardest. Jake had to install the neural bridge inside Liberty's body. This meant connecting wires and computer chips directly to her brain tissue. One wrong move could kill her. One mistake could destroy what was left of her mind. Jake worked with steady hands even though he was terrified. He had to interface directly with Liberty's consciousness. It was like walking through a dark cave, feeling his way forward. Sometimes he could sense her presence. Other times there was only emptiness that made him afraid. But Liberty was strong. Every time Jake thought he lost her, she pushed back. Her will showed up as tiny signals through the new system. She was fighting to come back to him. The morning of the invasion deadline arrived. Jake had not slept in 30 hours. His hands shook as he made the final connections. This was it. Either the neural bridge would work, or Liberty would stay broken forever. He activated the complete system. For a moment, nothing happened. The hangar was silent except for Jake's breathing. Then Liberty's eye opened. It opened all the way for the first time in months. The eye was bright and aware and alive. Her scales began to glow. At first, the light was dim. Then it grew stronger and stronger. A deep humming sound filled the hangar as her biomechanical systems came back online. The sound was beautiful. Jake felt Liberty's presence explode into his mind. The connection through the neural bridge was different from normal dragon pilot bonds. It was sharper, more clear, more precise. He could feel her joy, her determination, her absolute trust in him. Tears ran down Jake's face. "Welcome back, girl. Now let us get you flying again." Liberty stood up on her legs. They were shaky at first. She had not moved in so long. But her muscles remembered. Step by step she walked forward. Her broken wing dragged a bit, but it moved. The systems that had been dead were alive again. Other mechanics stopped their work. They stared at Liberty with open mouths. The dragon they thought was finished was walking. Her scales were glowing. She was awake. Ben ran over and grabbed Jake in a hug. "You did it. I cannot believe it, but you actually did it." Jake could barely stand. Now that the work was done, all his exhaustion hit him at once. But he was smiling. "We did it. Liberty did most of the work. She never gave up." Through their mental link, Jake felt Liberty's response. It was not words exactly. It was more like concepts and feelings that his brain translated into meaning. She was grateful. She was ready. She wanted to fly. Soon, Jake promised her. "We need to run tests first. Make sure everything works correctly." He climbed into Liberty's pilot cradle. This was the seat where the pilot sat to control the dragon. As Jake settled into position, the neural bridge activated fully. The connection was instant and powerful. Through Liberty's senses, Jake could feel everything. The damaged wing that was weak but working. The engine that was not at full power but running. The weapons systems coming online. She was not perfect, but she was operational. "Run diagnostics," Jake said to his computer. Numbers scrolled across his screen. Structural integrity at 70%. Propulsion efficiency at 62%. Weapon systems at 90%. Neural bridge operating at 105%. That last number made Jake blink. The neural bridge was working better than normal systems? How was that possible? Then he understood. The hybrid system combined Liberty's natural instincts with computer precision. She could think and react even faster than before. The synthetic parts made up for the damaged biological ones. Liberty was not just fixed. In some ways, she was better. A loud alarm suddenly blared through the station. The sound made everyone jump. Red lights began flashing on the walls. "All pilots to your dragons." Commander Vexira's voice boomed from the speakers. "The Dravok fleet has entered the system. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill." Jake's heart started pounding. The invasion had begun. Right now. Before he could finish testing Liberty. Before he could make sure she was really ready. Through their link, he felt Liberty's determination. Tests did not matter. People needed help. That was all that mattered. "You are right," Jake said. "Let us go." He guided Liberty toward the launch bay. Other dragons rushed past them, their pilots focused on the coming battle. Jake saw Vexira mounted on Sovereign Fury. The commander's forearms moved quickly across her controls. Vexira's eyes found Jake and Liberty. Her expression showed complete shock. The dragon she had declared worthless was moving, walking, preparing to launch. For just a moment, their eyes met. Then Vexira looked away and guided her dragon into space. Jake took a deep breath. "Ready, Liberty?" Her response through the neural bridge was absolutely clear. She was born ready. She mocked the human mechanic and his disabled dragon, but soon regretted it. Part 3 Liberty passed through the atmospheric shield and entered space. Jake felt the shift in his body as artificial gravity disappeared. Through the neural bridge, he experienced what Liberty felt. The cold of space. The freedom of no gravity. The joy of flying again after so long. But that joy disappeared fast when Jake saw the battle. The Dravok fleet hung in the darkness like a cloud of metal insects. There were hundreds of ships. Maybe thousands. Their weapons were already firing. Bright streams of energy cut through space and hit the Coalition's defense platforms. Explosions bloomed in the void. Each explosion meant people had died. The Coalition's war dragons engaged immediately. Over 100 of the huge biomechanical creatures swept into combat. Their natural weapons and mounted guns tore into the enemy formation. Jake watched as dragons and Dravok ships fought in a deadly dance. He saw Vexira leading a group of dragons. Sovereign Fury's scales blazed with power. The commander was an expert fighter. She moved her dragon perfectly, destroying enemy ships with precise attacks. Her tactical commands came through the communication system, directing other pilots where to go and what to hit. Jake guided Liberty toward the battle. His hands moved across her control interface. Through the neural bridge, his thoughts became her actions instantly. When he wanted to turn left, she turned. When he wanted to fire, her weapons responded. "Jake?" Ben's voice crackled in his ear. Ben was piloting his Dragon Guardian about a kilometer away. "I am seeing weird readings on my sensors." "Look at the edge of the system." Jake checked Liberty's sensors. The hybrid neural system processed data in a special way. It combined Liberty's biological intuition with computer analysis. What Jake saw made his blood turn cold. There was another fleet, a second Dravok fleet hiding in space. "It is a trap," Jake said. "They are using this battle to distract us. There are 300 more ships coming through a jump point behind the station." He immediately opened a communication channel to Station Command. "This is Morrison in Liberty. We have enemy reinforcements incoming. Coordinates are, Morrison. This channel is for operational pilots only," a duty officer interrupted. "Clear the line. You do not understand. There is another fleet coming. They will hit the station's backside," Jake said urgently. "Your Dragon is listed as non-operational. Return to the hangar immediately or you will face court-martial." The channel went dead. They had cut him off. Jake stared at the sensor data in disbelief. The second fleet would reach the station's undefended backside in minutes. Thousands of people lived on that station, families, children, workers. They would all die if the Dravok ships got through. Nobody believed him. Nobody was listening. Through his neural link with Liberty, Jake felt her resolve. She had been dismissed, declared worthless, left to die, but she was still a war dragon. She would not let innocent people be killed. "I am with you," Jake said. "Let us show them what a broken dragon can do." Liberty turned away from the main battle. She accelerated toward the incoming second fleet. Jake pushed her damaged systems hard. Warning lights appeared on his display. Structural stress at 70% tolerance. Propulsion efficiency dropping to 58%. The damaged wings screamed in protest, but Liberty did not slow down. "Jake, what are you doing?" Ben's voice was full of panic. "You will be killed." "Someone has to warn them. Someone has to stop that fleet," Jake said. "Stay with the main force, Ben." "The hell with that," Ben said. "Guardian and I are coming with you." Ben, no. Do not, but his friend's dragon was already breaking formation. Guardian followed Liberty into what looked like certain death. Jake wanted to order him back. He wanted to keep his friend safe. But there was no time to argue. The Dravok second fleet appeared from their jump point. 300 ships materialized like sharks coming out of dark water. Their weapons arrays started charging up. They glowed with dangerous energy. The Dravok had not expected any resistance on this side of the station. They definitely had not expected 2 dragons. Jake opened fire first. Liberty's bioplasma cannons shot out in brilliant blue streams. The hybrid neural interface let Jake process targeting data faster than any normal pilot could. Liberty's natural combat instincts merged with his tactical thinking. Together, they were more than the sum of their parts. The first 3 Dravok fighters exploded before they could return fire. "All coalition forces, this is Morrison." Jake broadcast on every channel. He made sure everyone could hear him. "Second enemy fleet attacking station's back section. I repeat, second fleet attacking back section. We need reinforcements now." "Morrison!" Commander Vexira's voice cut through all the communication traffic. "What are you doing out there?" "Your dragon is—" She stopped talking. Jake knew she was checking her sensors. "Impossible. Liberty's neural signature is active." "What did you do?" "Fixed her," Jake said. He rolled Liberty through a storm of plasma fire. Enemy shots missed them by meters. "We could really use some help here, Commander." For a moment there was silence on the communication channels. Jake could imagine Vexira processing what she was hearing. The human mechanic she had mocked was fighting. The broken dragon she had dismissed was operational. Then Vexira's voice returned. It was sharp and commanding. "All wings, redirect to station backside immediately. Morrison has located a secondary enemy force." Move now, I repeat, move now! But the main coalition force was heavily engaged with the first Dravok fleet. Dragons were fighting for their lives. It would take minutes for them to break away and reach Jake's position. Jake and Ben did not have minutes. They had seconds. Liberty's damaged wing buckled slightly as she pulled a hard turn. Jake felt her pain shoot through their connection like electricity. The hybrid system was holding together, but the physical damage was real. Every maneuver stressed her healing tissues. Every movement hurt her. I know it hurts, Jake thought to her through their bond. Just hold on a little longer. Help is coming. Liberty's response was pure determination. Pain did not matter. They had a job to do. Ben's guardian fought beside them. His dragon's camouflage scales made him harder for enemies to target. Together, they wove through the enemy formation like needles through cloth. They were vulnerable. 2 dragons against 300 ships. But they used that vulnerability as a weapon. They were fast, unpredictable, dangerous. Every second they bought was another second for people on the station to evacuate. Another second for reinforcements to arrive. Jake's hands flew across Liberty's interface. But he was not really controlling her anymore. His mind had merged with hers through the neural bridge. He was not piloting Liberty. He was Liberty. He felt the strain on her muscles as she banked hard. He felt the heat in her bioplasma chambers as she fired. He felt the determination in her core that matched his own perfectly. They could not stop the fleet. Not alone, but they could slow it down. They could make the Dravok pay for every meter of space. A Dravok cruiser 10 times Liberty's size turned toward them. Its main batteries began charging. Jake saw the energy building up in its weapons. He knew they could not dodge in time. The blast would be too big, too fast. Liberty knew it too. Through their bond, Jake felt her make a decision. She folded her damaged wing completely against her body. Then she rolled in space, presenting her armored back to the incoming blast. The plasma wave hit her like a giant hammer. Jake screamed as he felt every bit of pain. Liberty's scales charred black. Her systems overloaded. Alarms blared in the cockpit, but they were alive. The maneuver had worked. She mocked the human mechanic and his disabled dragon, but soon regretted it. Part 4, Jake gasped for air as the pain faded from his body. Through the neural bridge, he had felt everything Liberty experienced. The blast had hurt terribly. But Liberty's damaged wing, the weak point that Vexira had mocked so cruelly, was now protected by the thick armor plating on her back. Liberty had adapted to her disability. She had turned her weakness into a defensive strategy. "Good girl," Jake whispered. His voice shook. Such a smart girl. The Dravok cruiser that had fired at them now had a problem. Its main weapons were depleted. It took time for those big guns to recharge, time that Jake would not waste. He targeted the cruiser's exposed reactor core. The hybrid neural system let him calculate the complex targeting solution in milliseconds. His mind and Liberty's mind worked as one. They saw the weak point. They knew exactly where to shoot. Liberty's bioplasma cannons fired with everything she had. The blue energy stream struck true. They punched through the cruiser's armor and hit the power core directly. The massive ship's reactor went critical. The explosion was enormous. It created a ball of fire and energy that expanded rapidly. 24 enemy fighters were caught in the blast radius. They had been flying too close to their command ship. Now they were nothing but debris. "I see them," Ben shouted over the communication channel. His voice was full of hope. "Jake, look. Help is coming." Through the fire and wreckage, Jake saw them. Every dragon in the coalition fleet was coming. They had broken away from the main battle and were burning hard toward Jake's position. At their head was Sovereign Fury. Commander Vexira was pushing her dragon to incredible speeds. The space around her shimmered from the velocity. The cavalry had arrived. Vexira led the charge personally. Her tactical genius showed in every command she gave. She split the incoming dragons into 3 groups. One group hit the Dravok fleet from above. Another attacked from below. The third, led by Vexira herself, smashed into the enemy formation from the front. The Dravok second fleet, which had expected an easy surprise attack, suddenly found themselves trapped. Behind them was the station's defensive batteries. In front of them was 100 angry war dragons. The battle became fierce. Space filled with weapons fire. Dragons twisted and turned through enemy formations. Dravok ships exploded in brilliant flashes. Some dragons fell too. Jake watched with a heavy heart as a few of the biomechanical creatures were destroyed by overwhelming enemy fire. But the coalition was winning. Slowly, painfully, they were winning. Jake and Liberty fought until her systems were on the verge of complete shutdown. The hybrid neural bridge held strong throughout the battle. It never failed once. But Liberty's physical body had limits. Her damaged wing was barely functioning. Her scales had gone dark again. Her propulsion system was overheating. "Liberty, we need to get back to the station," Jake said gently. Through their bond, Liberty protested. She wanted to keep fighting. There were still enemies out there. People still needed protection. "You have done enough," Jake told her. "More than enough. You are a hero, girl. Now let me take care of you." Reluctantly, Liberty agreed. She turned back toward the station. Her movements were slow and painful. Every meter they traveled took enormous effort. Morrison returned to base immediately. Vexira's voice came through his communicator. It was a command, but there was something else in her tone. Respect, maybe. "You have earned your rest." Jake practically crashed into the landing bay. Liberty's legs buckled as they touched down. She collapsed onto the deck with a heavy thud. Immediately, medical teams and mechanics swarmed around them. Doctors checked Liberty's vital signs. Engineers examined the hybrid neural system. Everyone was shouting, asking questions, taking readings. As Jake disconnected from the pilot's cradle, his legs gave out. He had nothing left. No energy, no strength. He started to fall. Ben caught him before he hit the floor. "Easy, man," Ben said with a tired smile. "You are a hero. Heroes get to collapse dramatically." Jake laughed weakly. The sound came out more like a cough. "Is she okay? Is Liberty going to be all right?" "The medical team is checking her now," Ben said. "She is alive, Jake. You are both alive. That is what matters." Jake wanted to say more, but darkness took him. His body had finally reached its limit. He passed out in Ben's arms. Jake woke up 2 days later. He was in the station's medical wing. His body ached from neural feedback and exhaustion. Every muscle hurt. His head pounded. But he was alive. The first thing he asked the nurse was about Liberty. "The dragon is in stable condition," the nurse told him. She was a kind older woman with gentle hands. "Remarkable, really. The hybrid neural system you created not only restored her functionality, but seems to have accelerated her natural healing processes. The medical team is calling it revolutionary." Revolutionary. The word echoed in Jake's tired mind. He had just been trying to save his friend. He had not thought about creating something revolutionary. "Can I see her?" Jake asked. "Not yet," the nurse said firmly. "You need rest. Doctor's orders. Maybe tomorrow if your vitals improve." But Jake could feel Liberty through their neural connection. Even from here, even while lying in bed, he could sense her. She was tired, hurt, but recovering. And she was happy. Happy that they had saved people. Happy that they had fought together. That night, Jake slept deeply for the first time in weeks. He dreamed of flying, of soaring through stars with Liberty. In his dreams, she was perfect and whole. Her wings worked flawlessly. Her scales shone like jewels. When he woke the next morning, the doctor cleared him to return to the hangar. Jake moved slowly. His body was stiff and sore. But nothing could keep him away from Liberty. He found her resting in the main repair bay. She was surrounded by a crowd of engineers and technicians. They were all studying the modifications Jake had made. They asked questions, took pictures, made notes on their computer pads. Liberty's eye opened when Jake entered. Through their bond, he felt her joy at seeing him. He pushed through the crowd and put his hand on her scales. They were still dim but growing brighter each day. "I am here, girl," Jake said softly. "We made it. We both made it." Commander Vexira stood near the back of the crowd. Jake had not seen her at first. She was watching him quietly. Her forearms were crossed in a formal Carthian posture. For a long moment, she just stared at him. Her expression was complicated. Difficult to read, finally she spoke. Her voice carried across the repair bay. "Everyone out. I need to speak with Morrison privately." The engineers and technicians left quickly. They knew better than to argue with the commander. Soon, only Jake, Liberty, and Vexira remained. The commander walked forward slowly. She stopped a few feet from Jake. Her silver skin seemed to glow in the hangar lights. "In 3,000 years of Carthian history," she began, "no one has ever successfully modified a war dragon's neural system. It is considered impossible. The biological and mechanical components are too integrated, too complex, too delicate." She paused, took a breath. I called you a mediocre mechanic playing with tools you did not understand. I mocked you and your dragon. I said terrible things. Her eyes met his directly. I was wrong, Morrison. Completely wrong. And I am sorry. Jake had not expected an apology, especially not from someone as proud as Vexira. He did not know what to say. The commander continued. You saved 3,000 lives on this station. Our tactical analysis confirms that without your early warning and your delaying action, the Dravok's Second Fleet would have breached our defenses. The station would have fallen. The entire sector would have been lost. Liberty saved those lives, Jake said quietly. I just gave her the chance to fight. You did more than that, Vexira said. She mocked the human mechanic and his disabled dragon, but soon regretted it. Part 5 Vexira gestured toward Liberty with one of her 4 hands. The dragon rested peacefully in the repair bay. Her scales were growing brighter with each passing hour. You saw something in her that no one else did. Not potential. Reality. She was never truly broken, was she? We just did not know how to see her clearly. Jake walked over to Liberty and placed both hands on her warm scales. Through their hybrid neural connection, he felt her contentment, her pride, her deep affection for him. The bond they shared was stronger than anything he had ever experienced. She has always been extraordinary, Jake said. She just needed someone who would not give up on her. Vexira was quiet for a moment. Then she did something Jake had never seen any Carthian do. She bowed. It was a deep bow that showed great respect in her culture. When she straightened up, her expression had softened. The Council has asked me to offer you a position, she said, head of Dragon Research and Development. Your hybrid neural system could change everything. We could treat damaged dragons that we would have otherwise lost. We could save hundreds of creatures, maybe thousands over time. She paused, then added, the pay is excellent. You would have your own team, your own laboratory, full access to all coalition resources. Jake felt his heart jump. Head of Research and Development. It was an incredible opportunity, a chance to help so many injured dragons, to prove that human innovation had value, to show the galaxy that his people belonged here. But he had one concern, one condition that mattered more than anything else. I accept, Jake said, but only if Liberty stays with me. Whatever research we do, whatever systems we develop, she is my partner, not a test subject, not a prototype, not an example. A partner with full rights and respect. Vexira smiled. It was the first genuine smile Jake had ever seen on her face. It transformed her entire appearance. She looked younger, kinder. I would expect nothing less from you, Morrison. Besides, after what you two accomplished together, I would not dream of separating you. The Coalition needs more teams like yours. Teams that understand that strength comes in many forms. She turned to leave, then stopped at the door. Report to the research division tomorrow morning. Your friend Ben has already agreed to be your assistant. He said, and I quote, Guardian and I make a pretty good team too. She shook her head with amusement. You humans have a strange way of speaking, but I am beginning to appreciate it. After Vexira left, Ben appeared with 2 cups of terrible station coffee. He handed one to Jake with a grin. So, boss, head of research and development, that is pretty fancy. Jake took the coffee gratefully. It tasted awful, but it was warm and familiar. It is going to be a lot of work. There are dozens of injured dragons that might benefit from the hybrid system. Each one will need custom modifications, extensive testing, careful monitoring. Sounds like you will need a very skilled assistant, Ben said. His grin widened. Someone handsome and charming who also happens to be an excellent mechanic. I was thinking of asking someone competent, Jake teased. But I guess you will do. Ben laughed and punched Jake's shoulder lightly. Seriously, though, I am proud of you. You never gave up, even when everyone said it was impossible. Jake looked at Liberty. Her eye was open, watching them with intelligence and warmth. She never gave up either. We saved each other, really. Over the next few weeks, Jake settled into his new role. The research division gave him a large workspace with state-of-the-art equipment. His team grew to include engineers from 6 different species. At first, some were skeptical about working for a human. But when they saw what Jake had accomplished with Liberty, their doubts disappeared. The first patient was a dragon named Storm. He had lost his right front leg in battle. The injury had left him grounded and depressed. His pilot, a young woman named Kate, refused to give up on him. She reminded Jake of himself. Jake studied Storm's condition carefully. The missing leg was a different problem than Liberty's neural damage, but the solution used similar principles. He designed a prosthetic leg that connected directly to Storm's nervous system through a modified version of the hybrid neural bridge. The installation took 3 days. When Storm stood up on his new prosthetic leg for the first time, everyone in the research division cheered. The dragon took a few uncertain steps, then a few more. Within an hour, he was walking normally. Kate cried with happiness. She hugged Jake so hard he could barely breathe. "Thank you," she kept saying. "Thank you so much." Word spread quickly through the station. Other pilots with injured dragons began requesting appointments. Soon, Jake had a waiting list of patients. Each case was unique. Each required creativity and careful planning. But Jake loved the work. Every dragon he helped felt like a victory. Liberty assisted with every case. She seemed to understand what they were doing. Through their neural bond, she would sometimes give Jake insights that he had missed. Her biological perspective combined with his technical knowledge made them an unbeatable team. One evening, 6 months after the battle, Jake stayed late in the research division. He was designing a new type of neural bridge for a dragon who had suffered brain trauma. The work was complex and challenging. Liberty rested nearby. Her damaged wing had healed completely. Her scales shone bright and beautiful. She looked healthy and strong, but she had not flown since the battle. Jake had been too busy to take her out. Through their bond, he felt her longing. She missed the stars. She missed the freedom of space. "You are right," Jake said, setting down his tools. "I have been working too much. What do you say we go for a flight?" Liberty's joy exploded through their connection. Her scales blazed even brighter. She stood up eagerly, her tail swishing with excitement. Jake climbed into her pilot's cradle. The neural bridge activated instantly. The connection was perfect, seamless, even better than it had been during the battle. They had grown together, learned each other's rhythms. They launched from the hangar and soared into space. Liberty's movements were graceful and powerful. She was flying better than ever. The damaged wing that had once been a weakness now worked perfectly. It had healed stronger. Jake let Liberty choose their course. She flew toward the edge of the system where the stars shone brightest. They passed defense platforms and patrol ships. Other dragons waved as they flew by. For an hour, they simply flew. No destination, no purpose except joy. Liberty performed loops and rolls. She dove and climbed. She celebrated being alive, being whole, being free. Through their bond, Jake felt everything she felt. The cold of space, the warmth of distant stars, the pure happiness of flight. It was beautiful beyond words. When they returned to the station, Jake found Commander Vexira waiting in the hangar. She was not alone. The entire council was with her, important-looking people from a dozen different species. "Morrison," Vexira said formally, "the council would like to speak with you." Jake climbed down from Liberty, suddenly nervous. Had he done something wrong? Was there a problem with his research? An elderly counselor stepped forward. He was from a species Jake did not recognize. His skin was covered in soft fur, and his eyes were large and kind. "Jake Morrison," the counselor said, "in recognition of your service to the Galactic Coalition and your revolutionary work in dragon medicine, the council has voted unanimously to award you the Star of Valor. This is the highest honor we can bestow on any citizen." He held up a small crystal that glowed with inner light. "You have shown that innovation, compassion, and determination can overcome any obstacle. You have saved countless lives. You have given hope to those who had none. You represent the very best of what the Coalition stands for." The counselor pinned the crystal to Jake's chest. It felt warm against his skin. "We are honored to have you among us," the counselor said. "Humanity has proven itself worthy 1,000 times over, but you, Jake Morrison, have shown us something special. You have shown us that sometimes the greatest strength comes not from power or technology or ancient knowledge. It comes from refusing to accept defeat, from seeing value where others see only loss, from loving so deeply that the impossible becomes possible." Jake did not know what to say. He looked at Liberty. She was watching him with pride radiating from every scale. "I could not have done any of this without her," Jake said finally. "Liberty is the real hero." "Then we honor you both," the counselor said. "The Coalition recognizes the bond between Dragon and Pilot as sacred. You and Liberty are partners in every sense. This award belongs to both of you." After the council left, after the ceremony ended, after all the congratulations and handshakes, Jake sat alone with Liberty in the quiet hangar. The Star of Valor hung around his neck. It glowed softly in the dim light. "We did it, girl," Jake whispered. "Everyone who said we could not. Everyone who said you were broken. Everyone who said I was wasting my time. We proved them all wrong." Liberty's response through their bond was simple and profound. They had never been trying to prove anything to anyone. They had simply been trying to survive, to help each other, to refuse to give up. Everything else had followed from that. Jake leaned against Liberty's warm side. Her steady breathing was like a lullaby. "What do you want to do now?" he asked. Through their connection, Liberty showed him images, injured dragons,